I am ready, Varsava. Let's do business for God. Oh, I am Mama Kostashish. Pray in tongues all the time. Go ahead, pray in tongues all the time. You hear the Lord saying, go ahead, make my day. Pray in the Spirit all the time. Urge others to pray in the Spirit all the time. Urge your preachers to pray in the Spirit all the time. Don't let your preachers get tired or lazy or shy about praying in the Spirit in front of others. I'm thinking you didn't hear that too much before, did you? Talking about the word reset and talking about the word surveys. The word talks about this. It says to move the ancient surveys or the borders laid out by surveyors. To move the ancient surveys is to reset things. Okay, I'm going to put a period there, and I'm going to add this. You might say this is food for thought. Some resets are good, and some are not. So you have to discern what is and what isn't good. This is part of, I alluded to this in the previous video. This is part of being sharp, part of being on the ball, not asleep at the switch, watching to see. So I'll read that again. To remove the ancient surveys or borderlines in any given thing. Could be a borderline of your property. Could be a borderline of your morals. To move the ancient surveys or borders is to reset things. And then I put in there, beware, some resets are good and some are not. You discern what's what. And I'll put a period there. Approaching this now from a little bit of a different angle, or another angle. Modern shows and movies create resets. The old-timey shows have old, mostly good values, or at least easier to recognize the difference. Things are not so blurred in old movies. Now, that was kind of a long sentence, so I'll let that sit and do it again. One of the ways I would talk about that is to say this, old movies, specifically I'm going to say before 1966, old movies, the attitudes, mostly in the oldies, is good attitudes. Mostly the good guys win. Very often the good guys have to really fight against evil and have to really fight to accommodate good to reign supreme. To let the good guys win, to accommodate the good guys to win. So I'll say it again. Modern shows and movies create resets, period. The old-timey shows have old, mostly good values, or at least easier to recognize the difference. Things are not so blurred in old movies. Now, I want to make sure I said that right. The old movies mostly have good values. Not all of them, but most of them have good values where the good guy wins. Or at least it's easier to recognize the difference between good and bad. And of course, there's going to be some movies that the writer has written it so that it's quite a bit of discernment involved to find out, well, where's the gray area? Where did the good and the bad start and stop, kind of a thing. I understand that. Or at least it's easier to recognize the difference. Things are not so blurred in old movies. So I'm saying, when you're watching, talking about old movies, when you're watching old movies, if you've been watching modern stuff and then you go into watching some old stuff, your paradigm will receive a reset simply by watching old movies. Your values will be reset in watching old movies. Just by watching the movie, it will help you to reset your values. It gives you a new benchmark. Gee, I watched that. You might say, I watched that thing the other day, and it was kind of a dirty thing. I didn't feel good in my spirit after watching that, or watching part of it, or whatever, however you say. And then you watch old movies, and it can be such a big distinction between modern movies and pre-66 movies. And what's going on when you do that, whether you're cognizant of it or not, when you watch the old stuff, you're getting a reset. You are getting a reset. Okay, I'm going to highlight a thought here about something. Changing tracks. I was watching a fist fight scene in a movie the other day. Yes, it was an old movie. I want to illustrate how it struck my thinking. I saw a fight scene in a newspaper office in an old movie. Newsmen were fighting. Now let that strike your thinking. The news guys, like you might say the editors of the newspaper, they were fighting. A rare scene, I thought, because newsmen do their combat with words. And all of that struck my thinking as I'm watching this fight scene. Now, the first thing that struck my thinking was, look at this. This is newsmen fist fighting. And it dawned on me, how many newsroom fist fights have you ever seen? And I've seen a lot of old movies. And I thought, newsmen fighting? No, that's really rare. I've seen it where the bad guys came and beat up the newsmen because they were printing the truth. I've seen bad guys come into the newsroom and destroy all of their equipment because they were printing the truth, but they weren't fighting. Those bad guys coming in and beating them up, that's not fighting. They just got beat up. And as this was unfolding in front of me, I thought, wow, all the movies I've ever seen, I don't think I've seen maybe 2 fist fights, maybe 3, of the news people, between the news people themselves. And as I'm seeing this, and I was wowed at this, the whole idea of, I've never seen hardly any of this before like that. And I got quiet as I was watching this. And I heard the Holy Spirit, quietly and gently, he said this. He was literally explaining to me what I had just seen, making it, he was amplifying what I had seen. So it really made more sense than ever before. He says this to me. He says, newsmen don't fight with their fists. They fight with their words. And actually, he said this word here. I had to correct myself. Because newsmen do their combat. That's the word. He didn't say fighting. He said newsmen do their combat with words. Well, of course they do. You know, when I thought it through, and when you think it through, I'm just debating on what to say here. I could say more. Yeah, newsmen are not going to be prone to, quote, fist fighting. No. I've been around that crowd more than a time or two. So many examples that I've seen of their lifestyle. No. They're not going to do combat with their fists. They're going to do combat with their words. Great lesson there. Come back and see me again.